The tropical wave we were talking about yesterday in the Atlantic already has a good chance of tropical development, and ultimately, we could get a strong storm out of it. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. Of course, it's fantastic to see you on a Thursday. I hope you are well. Coming up in this video, we're going to be talking about the weather across our area for today. We're going to look at the rainfall chances island by island for the weekend ahead, and then deep dive into this tropical wave, which already has that orange area and a good chance of development as it gets into the Eastern Caribbean for midweek. We're going to first start, though, with what's happening right now. We're going to get back into this, and as we get this video started, I love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. You have a specific question about the forecast, just drop it in the comments section below as well. What do you say we first take a look at what's happening with our temperatures, and then we're going to get into our feels like numbers. Now, they're going to go a little bit crazy here at the beginning, but they'll catch up to what's happening here. Going to throw on the feels like numbers. Those should cooperate a little bit more. And I just want to point out again that so many of you have said, Rusty, when it is not raining, it is stiflingly hot. And we have a lot of numbers again in the triple digits, 105, 110. Again, you get to 110, that's 43 degrees Celsius. So it's a rough day where, again, things have been quieter. We have some 110 and 115 feels like numbers. So I'm with you guys. Now, ultimately, we're going to get wetter as we get into the weekend and then next week with another potential tropical system. So there'll be some breaks in the heat, but it might come in the form of a little bit more wet weather and storms than what you would like to see. We are going to get started here with what's actually happening in the Northwest Caribbean through Central America and the Yucatan. This is our tropical wave. Again, that just 2 days ago, there was a chance of development here. Now, ultimately, that's not going to happen, all right? But again, it's still an elongated area of showers and storms to go along with some breezy conditions as well. Throw on the wind gusts here. How about the 37-mile-an-hour wind gust there in Cayman Brac a little bit earlier today? So we've had some rowdier storms. We've had some heavier rain. Right now, that concentration for Central America is going to be mainly up in Honduras. It's going to be tracking over places like La Chiva, Roatan, San Pedro Sula. Look for some good downpours and some gusty winds here from time to time. Lightning will come along for the ride as well. This is going to try and get towards coastal Guatemala, maybe as far north as Dangriga, Belize City, maybe even in towards San Ignacio, San Pedro, and Belmopan. Still a few isolated showers here in the Yucatan, but a little bit drier air up here, at least at this point in time. Then we get back over to the Cayman Islands, and we're starting to see more showers and storms developing here. And again, how about a nice little 37-mile-an-hour wind gust? Some of this is not going to be moving very quickly as well. So there's going to be the opportunity for some heavier rain in this area. It's still going to be localized, but that opportunity to be there for Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman as well. My friends in the Kingston, Jamaica area, again, the opportunity for a few more showers and storms even towards the western part of the island, Montego Bay and Negril. Let's throw back on our feels like numbers here. Again, you're going to get an idea, and most of the rain the last couple of days have been in the western side of the island. There's been a few showers central. There's been more rain out west for Westmoreland and Hanover parishes, and then it's been a little bit drier east. Not completely dry, but drier, and it's been dry today in Kingston. Feels like number above 110. Montego Bay has had some rain. Cambridge, Lucy area on up towards Falmouth, South Lamar, Negril, all the opportunities for some showers for today. And look, the island will have a chance, even the eastern side, Port Antonio, more on point, but it's not going to be as prominent on the western side of the island for today. And then, other than that, we have scattered showers and storms that will continue to develop over Cuba. Once again, an extremely hot day when we haven't seen that. And really, the other big story is what's happening right now in the Bahamas. We've had some good showers and storms. Now, unfortunately, just as I started to record, we lost the lightning data. It happens from time to time, but just letting this loop through, you can see we've had over 150 lightning strikes in a 15-minute period here for portions of the central and the northwest Bahamas, from Cat Island to Eleuthera, New Providence, Andros, Abaco, Bimini, Grand Bahama, Walker's Key, all with the opportunity for some heavier showers and storms on this Thursday afternoon. Going to throw on the radar imagery here. I'll take off the satellite imagery, and you can see again, nice cluster of heavy storms. Started up towards Walker's Key, tried to build back down towards Grand Bahama. Heavy storms on the southern sides of Great Abaco. Most of this rain has been slightly north of Andros, kind of in the open waters here, but certainly drifting over New Providence in the Nassau area and then back over towards Eleuthera. So if my friends here in New Providence, let me know what you've seen. But again, we had a good little storm that rolled right across the island a couple of hours ago here in the mid-afternoon hours of this Thursday. And again, additional showers and storms will continue to try and develop down towards Cat Island, even San Salvador and Rum Key. So it's a relatively active day here for our friends in the Bahamas, especially the central and the northwest Bahamas. And again, we are on the far southern side of what's going on with Debby. And we'll get into Debby in a little bit more here. Again, the orange area is our next tropical system. We'll talk much more about this coming up. But again, it's a 40% chance, which is why it's now orange. But this is not going to impact our area in the shorter term. It has been much drier today. Again, over Hispaniola, we've just had a couple of showers and storms developing over the Dominican Republic and Haiti at the hour. These are temperatures in Fahrenheit which are above 90 degrees, which are going to be in that 32 degrees Celsius range. And then the feels like temperatures, again, oppressively hot outside. But you guys know that. And a lot of you have commented just how hot of a summer that it's been without the rain. And it's going to be the same situation for Puerto Rico and the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands as well. This is a relatively dry forecast for today. We'll see a few isolated showers and storms trying to develop a little bit later in the afternoon and early evening hours for us here. But we have more easterly winds here. I do want to point out a very interesting feature sitting off of the eastern side of the Bahamas. This is a upper level low that's just kind of spinning like a top. It's allowed some of the storms to backbuild to the south and to the west over the Bahamas. It's unfortunately going to miss Bermuda for the most part. A few showers and storms could sneak up here, but ultimately this is going to get wrapped into the eastern side of Debby as Debby continues to move up to the north. I just want to highlight that, and again, we'll get back to Debby in a second as well. But the next stop I want to get into is back into the Lesser Antilles. And again, it's a hot day for the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, all above 100 for a feels like a number. Could there be a passing shower or two here today? Yes. Is it relatively dry? Yes. Is it darn hot in most areas? Absolutely. Still fairly fresh easterly winds. Let's see if we have any wind gusts here to report over the last couple of hours. Doesn't look like it. So, there we go. A couple of 25, St. Martin, St. Bartholomew. There's a couple of 25s again on over towards Puerto Rico. It's a nice fresh east wind, guys. Barbuda and Antigua, Montserrat, Guadalupe, Dominica, all again fairly dry for today. You got a light passing shower or a brief downpour. Let me know in the comments section below. But again, not expecting there to be much throughout the Lesser Antilles for today. Maybe a few showers trying to drift over Barbados and then sneak into places like St. Vincent on the northern side of the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. I really hope that that's not true. You know, you have this 135, come on. That would be outrageous. I'm just looking at the numbers because this is, I hope not. Could you imagine a field like temperature of 135? Whew. Anyway, portions of Suriname and Guyana and Venezuela, exceptionally hot, but the opportunity for a few showers down here, and you can see some of that moisture developing. An isolated shower is possible in Nueva Esparta, my friends in the ABC Islands. We're going to basically be dry for today. Feels like numbers here again, approaching 110, 43 degrees Celsius. Real quick look at Debby. This is now inland through the northern sides of South Carolina, moving into North Carolina. This is still a heavy rain and flood maker. Yes, Debby did ingest some drier air, so the numbers as far as the rainfall totals undercut a bit. Debby has winds of 40 miles an hour. It's going to stay a tropical storm for maybe the next 6 to 12 hours, then become a depression, then an extratropical system, but a lot of heavy rain through portions of the Northeast here, all the way up into New York and Maine and Vermont and places like that, Massachusetts. So this is just a big wet maker here for the mid-Atlantic states now, North Carolina, South. So portions of the Southeast, then the Mid-Atlantic, then the Northeast over the next few days. Okay, so that's what's happening in the here and now with some of the showers and storms and everything else. Now we're going to get into the forecast for the weekend. And as we do that, again, you want to give me a little bit of a payback. I really appreciate you liking this video. Drop a comment in the section below as well. Really helps out the channel, helps out our weather community. I know folks love to hear what's happening in your area from across the Caribbean and the Bahamas and the United States as well. If you haven't subscribed and you're looking for these forecasts, and you're looking for the tropical updates, you found your home. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends. And again, thank you for finding ways to support me here at Meteo Mundo. We have our memberships. It's just 99 cents a month. The super thanks, the PayPal, the Venmo that you see in the description below. Okay, so again, we're going to get into this wave, I promise, but this will still not impact us through the weekend. There's going to be some more instability and more tropical moisture moving into the Lesser Antilles here as we get into the weekend. So we're going to get more active weather, but not yet with that tropical disturbance, that wave, which has a very high likelihood of developing towards the end of this time frame. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to fire up a couple of different computer models, and we'll look at the weekend, and then we're going to get the island by island rain forecast and then deep dive into that tropical wave because it's going to deserve our attention for mid to late next week. So rolling through the weekend, again, we'll start off in the Eastern Caribbean. It's just going to be a little bit more of an unstable forecast here. You can see we're going to have some moisture lifting to the north, but also the easterlies will bring in more tropical moisture. So an axis will kind of roll through. I think the best chance for rain will probably be on Saturday, but relatively elevated rain chances Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's a good opportunity that from Anguilla all the way down to Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to catch a couple of days of rain, meaning that more than likely you're going to see a shower 2 or 3 days in a row. These should be fast-moving, passing showers. I'm not extremely worried about areas of flooding. I'll keep an eye on it. There could be some localized flooding, of course. It's not out of the question, but these should be fairly fast-moving showers and storms. But it's just going to be a wet forecast overall for us here. And we'll get back over to the GFS coming up in just a minute. But again, we're going to switch over to the NAM here to pick up the wave from here, because again, I think it just has a little bit better handle on what's going to be happening. To the Leeward Islands we go. And again, fresh winds, passing showers, and isolated thunderstorm, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Bartholomew, and then we'll just follow this wave off towards the west. And you can see how quickly it's moving through St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, Road Town, Tortola, Puerto Rico. Rain chances high. Again, we'll talk about rain totals coming up in just a minute, but just overall, again, fairly active weather. And this is not the tropical wave that is going to develop. This is ahead of it, but a good slug of moisture coming through the Greater Antilles here. So for Hispaniola, on over towards the Turks of the Caicos and Cuba, and eventually down the road, our friends in Jamaica will get better rain chances as well, but relatively decent chances here over the next several days. So it's just going to be a more active forecast in general. Now, one area that's going to be drying out a bit will be the Bahamas. As Debby pulls away, a little bit drier air will come back in its place. We're still going to get some more localized showers and storms. They're not going to be as widespread as the last couple of days, but that opportunity is out there. And that upper level low parked north and east of us is pulling away as well. That's also why we're going to be drying out. And again, unfortunately here, you can see both on the GFS and the NAM, it kind of misses Bermuda. There'll be slightly higher chances. I've upped the chance a little bit, but we're not going to get that direct impact, at least out of this for now. But a little bit better chance for some rain there overall. Now, Jamaica's rain chances will stay relatively okay. Again, am I really highlighting one particular day? No. Is it still going to be darn hot outside before the rain comes in? Absolutely. But the rain chance will be there for Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, Mandeville, Maypen, Montego Bay, Negril, across the island. Fast-moving easterlies. Look for some kicked-up surf and sea conditions as well. Just again to highlight in Hispaniola, if I didn't cover it enough for you here, fairly wet weather coming in. Again, peaking Saturday to Sunday, then slightly drier again early next week, and then we're going to get into why this orange area is in play here. But again, picking up more active conditions, still going to have a good healthy chance for showers and storms across the Caribbean. Central America is what I'm talking about here. Panama, Costa Rica, and then as this tropical disturbance, which again is not going to develop, moves west, we will get some drier air behind it, okay? So today and tomorrow, best rain chances for places like Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and the Yucatan. So that includes Roatan, San Pedro Sula, Tegucigalpa, Guatemala City, Belize City, on over towards Cancun and Cozumel. All of this rain spiraling in. Now, eventually it'll cross over the Bay of Campeche and then move off into Mexico. But that being said, again, nothing developing, but a good slug of moisture and some fairly heavy showers and some thunderstorms there as well. So this is what it looks like. Again, broad perspective over the next 3 days to 4 days, fairly active pattern for us here in most spots. ABC Islands, Nueva Esparta, some of the drier locations, but still a few showers there. So let's break it down. Island by island rain chance for tomorrow in the northwest Bahamas, 40% chance, 30 Saturday and Sunday. Again, localized, heavier downpours still likely. Central and the southeast Bahamas, again, kind of still wedged in between systems, so it's a 30% chance. Even the Turks and Caicos don't start to see better moisture chances until a little bit earlier next week. Cuba's rain chances stay localized but high. Cayman Islands, a 50% chance for tomorrow, still decent, 40% chance over the weekend, but they'll be spotty. Belize City, again, 80% chance tomorrow, still a 60% chance on Saturday, down to a 40% chance on Sunday. Cancun and Cozumel will get wet starting later today through our Friday, then begin to dry out again Saturday, and then back to a very respectable 30% chance on Sunday. Again, Jamaica's chances, I don't really pinpoint any one day, guys. So I really do think it's about a broad brush 50% chance. Hope you guys get a day or two of rain here out of this next 3 days. The Dominican Republic's chances, again, go up to a 70% chance on Saturday, still a 50% chance on Sunday. Puerto Rico, late Friday, Saturday, that's your best rain chances, 40 on Sunday. U.S. and British Virgin Islands will kind of tail some of this moisture, so a little bit higher chance Saturday into Sunday. Again, Bermuda of up to a 40% chance on Saturday, but nothing outrageous. The chance is going to be there. Anguilla, Saba, St. Eustatius, places like that, 70% chance Saturday, still 60% chance on Sunday. Same thing for our friends in St. Kitts and Nevis. And then again for Antigua and Barbuda. Not a bad chance Friday, but much more elevated Saturday. Again, this is just an unstable weather pattern. Next tropical wave coming in, just a nice slug of moisture, healthy downpours, breezy easterly winds. That's the forecast here across the Lesser Antilles in general. And you can see now, slightly lower maybe on Saturday for St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, but still a 60% chance. And respectable rain chances for Barbados as well. Grenada's chances are slightly higher. Trinidad and Tobago stay in that 50 to 60% range. And again, you know, out of all of this, probably 25 to 50 millimeters, 1 to 2 inches. Fast moving showers. Again, locally heavy rainfall, but overall, I think 1 to 2 in the short term. Suriname and Guyana, 70% chance the next few days. Still good on Sunday. And there's your lower chances, but a decent chance with that wave axis moving through Nueva Esparta on our Saturday. As we get into the tropical update, I do have an update from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That is NOAA. These are, again, the seasonal forecasts. Showed you this at the beginning of the season. They came out with an update today, and they do that periodically during the hurricane season. They made just one minor change. They took the range of named storms from 17 to 25, and they made it 17 to 24. So they dropped one off of the higher end of their named storm category. They left the hurricanes at 8 to 13, the major hurricanes at 4 to 7. The high end is those places that I have faith in and respect for as far as their forecasting. What are some of the highest numbers that I've seen with those areas that I find credible, right? Those forecasts I find credible. Still 25 to 30 named storms on the higher end, 14 to 16 hurricanes, 6 to 8 major, and what we've had so far during the season, 4 named storms. Of course, Debby is the 4th, 2 hurricanes, Beryl and Debby, and 1 major hurricane, that was Beryl. The accumulated cyclone energy number that you see, that takes a combination of the duration of a storm and how intense that storm was for that duration. It gives us one nice number. We can compare that storm to storm, and then we can compare season to season, because sometimes you can have 20 named storms in one season, but relatively speaking, they were all weak compared to a season that had 10 named storms, but they were all, you know, higher end, right? You know, Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricanes, a lot of them. So that ACE, that accumulated cyclone energy number, is a good comparison number, right? And that is still forecast to be 2 to 3 times above average this season compared to the average season. Look, I know we haven't had a ton so far, but we've already had 1 major hurricane, and all signs point to a very active forecast ahead. As a matter of fact, friends, I think we may not get many more days between now and the beginning of November or even beyond where we're not going to have one of these potential development areas, okay? We already went from me yesterday at this time going, yeah, here's this tropical wave we should probably be paying attention to in a 24-hour time frame, the National Hurricane Center has this as a 40% chance. And I'm going to show you why we've gone from, oh, we're watching this wave to, okay, we need to be paying a lot more attention to this because of what the models are showing. First of all, again, this is well out in the open waters of the Atlantic Basin. We are going to have time to monitor this. It's the blessing and the curse of all this neat information that we can look at, the full imagery of our satellites here across the world now to be able to watch these tropical waves beginning to develop. We're losing, of course, the visible satellite imagery here late afternoon, but again, you can clearly see this is a very nice defined tropical wave already. Should not develop in the shorter term. That's why we have that line. But as we get closer, within 1,000 miles of the Lesser Antilles, there is that opportunity that we can have some development. Now, we'll talk about what the models are showing as far as when it could be developing, but this is your development region over the next 7 days, and it's at a 40% chance. Everything that I've seen shows that this is going to develop. So don't be shocked that this number goes up. Don't be shocked when you see me on a Friday that this color is red, meaning that there will be a high chance for potential tropical development. First thing we can look at here is going to be the GFS model. I'm going to show you this here. So I'm going to take 1 second to load that up. And again, if you haven't hit the like button yet and you want to do me that big favor, I absolutely appreciate it. So let me take this out to, we're going to go out to the 18th. So we're talking about, first of all, when could this start to develop? It looks like we're looking at as the earliest Tuesday of next week, but most of the models have it sometime Wednesday, Thursday, okay? And then we're going to talk about, obviously, the ensemble members, what could be the spread, right, of potential out of this system. And then we're going to be looking at the European model as well. So a lot to get into here. So this is the GFS deterministic model, the main run of this. And we're going to take our time and just slowly go through this. So you can see here, now again, today is the 8th, Thursday the 8th. So as we get into the 9th and the 10th and the 11th on Sunday, just as we move into Tuesday, we start to see the GFS begin to wrap this up. Now, will this stay an open wave without a low-level center as it moves through the Lesser Antilles Tuesday and into Wednesday? It's a possibility. We could try and wrap up a storm right over the Lesser Antilles, but regardless, it looks like it's going to be weak as it does so. However, we're going to get a good push of wind and rain moving through the entire Lesser Antilles, and again, the time frame would be probably Tuesday and into Wednesday of next week. It's right around this time frame that both the European and the GFS models begin to start to crank this system up. That could potentially be over the Leeward Islands. Right, again, you get to the Windward Islands and we're maybe a little bit too far south, we'll see. The Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, the Greater Antilles in general, Puerto Rico, and then over the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and close to the Turks and the Caicos. So this is Thursday of next week. We're basically 7 days out from here, and we're starting to see a consolidation here on the GFS model on the far western side of this development area. Then it does wrap up near the Turks and Caicos and does become a stronger system as it gets closer to the Bahamas. Obviously, friends, we're so far out right now, we're not going to put our finger on any one model, any one solution. But there's a fair agreement in a general sense of how this could play out and develop. And the fact that down the road, we could be talking about a hurricane. That is a possibility on these global models. Now, a fair amount of them try and recurve this before it gets to the eastern seaboard of the United States. But for our friends in Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas and potentially down the road Bermuda with a quicker recurve, we have to be paying very close attention, all right? So again, on the GFS deterministic, and we're going to loop this up one more time, the potential for development near the Leeward Islands or just west over the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Turks and Caicos, and maybe just east of the Bahamas. But again, we're going to look at the ensembles, which show you a much broader range of potential outcomes. But I have a gut feeling that we are going to be discussing this one for the next 7 to 14 days, just depending on how quickly it wants to move and how fast it wants to recurve. This one is going to be one we're going to have to be watching out for. Let's switch over. Still same model. I'm going to bring up the low-level winds. So again, these would be the surface winds out of this from the latest run of the GFS. And it's going to take just a second here to pick up. But you guys can already see that just it passes the eye test, right? You know, we had been looking at the last couple of waves, sans Debby. This one gets stronger quicker. And guess what, friends? We're in August with La Nina, with ocean temperatures that are very, very hot and very little wind shear, it's not going to be shocking to see these waves in the Atlantic basin become stronger faster. So here you go. Let's break this down. Again, GFS model as we get into next Tuesday, Wednesday, we can see again. And again, I don't want to pinpoint any one location, but you get the idea that the GFS does want to try and start to wrap it up over the Leeward Islands as we get into next Wednesday. And then as we move into Thursday, again, interaction with Hispaniola always knocks down a storm. It's an extremely mountainous, high terrain island. It'll be ingesting in drier air. So if it goes over Hispaniola, it will slow down the potential development, which is why on the GFS, because it does so, it doesn't really try and get cranked up until it gets to the central and the northwest Bahamas, but east of there, okay? And again, I'm taking it out to the 17th. We'll look at the extended coming up here. I don't really want to, we'll look at the ensembles a little bit more extended, but obviously here we get a stronger storm. And if I query, again, these numbers, if I bring it out just a little bit more here, right about here, and I query what these winds are, again, we're looking at right around a minimal hurricane right now, right? So on the deterministic model, and these are sustained winds, these are not gusts, we would be looking at potentially Hurricane Ernesto here just east of the Bahamas into Saturday of next week, so about 9 days out from now, okay? So want to just get in your head that this is a storm that we're going to be monitoring for the next at least 7 to 10 days. Again, one more time here on the GFS, coming through the Leeward Islands, the Greater Antilles, Turks and Caicos, East, and then we'll see. But again, that is one run of the GFS deterministic. These are the ensembles. And again, what are the ensembles? There's 51 different ensemble members that run in the GFS. They each take initial conditions slightly differently, right? Because some of the initial conditions are estimated anyway. We don't have all the available data from the surface to the upper atmosphere. So the deterministic is like taking all of your best football players and you're putting them into one play. And then the ensemble members are like you're putting in a couple of second string ones. But you got 51 different members here. So again, as we look at this, there's your development here, Northeast Caribbean, some farther off towards the east. Really slow loop here, guys, so we can all get a good idea of this. So the deterministic is here. A fair amount of the ensemble products are a little bit farther east, but there are a few that slip right up the Bahamas and into the Gulf Stream as well. So that's what the GFS ensemble members look like. We'll let it run one more time. Again, on the GFS ensembles, most of them don't really wrap this up until they're west of the Leeward Islands and the Lesser Antilles in general. Going to be a wet, sloppy Tuesday, Wednesday. Same thing for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico down the road. And again, we'll start to see that more signals pop up, right? That's what we're looking for here. More signals popping up, but still mainly east of the Bahamas. And again, like I said, quicker recurve, we'd have to watch out for Bermuda. There are a couple of very rogue ones that pull it west, okay? Again, we're not discounting anything at this point in time, but there looks to be a weakness in the Bermuda High, which would allow this to begin to recurve, okay? Could the Carolina coastline of the United States be in play? Absolutely. We're just too early here to really tell. But I'm gonna let this loop one more time. Being on this side of the map, you can see again, there's a couple of rogue ones that pull it farther west, right? Even one developing way out here, but the cluster is here, and that's what we're looking for. And then the next thing we want to look for is run-to-run consistency, both with the deterministic and these ensemble products. This is the European model, deterministic, okay? So here we go. Same situation, letting this run. Tuesday, Wednesday, no development yet over the Leeward Islands, starting to ramp up a bit more. Now we get north of Hispaniola, now you have the development. It is, again, east of the Bahamas, strong though. Hurricane strength for sure on the deterministic model of the European 7 days out. So wrapping up near the Turks and Caicos, and then hopefully staying east of the Bahamas. Maybe we can get that slip and stay a fish storm right west of Bermuda, east of the Carolinas, move right up the eastern seaboard, but only kick up the surf and sea conditions. We'll have to see. Again, the deterministic model of the European, fairly in line with the deterministic model of the GFS. Here are the European ensemble products, and it's like a Christmas tree, guys. The European ensemble really has a very strong signal for a storm in the Western Atlantic in about a 7 to 9 day time frame, and some of it stronger than the GFS. Now, it's not as dispersed right now. There are a few that you'll see that will try and pull west over the Bahamas towards South Florida, but the majority have that recurve, again, east of the Bahamas, maybe going through the Turks and Caicos as it develops, but you get that idea, right? Weaker here, but still impactful in some ways, and then getting stronger and stronger as it moves up to the north and to the west. So when we look at the rainfall totals over the next 7 days, first of all, for Central America, more of this will fall in the next couple of days as that wave moves west, but still we're looking at a good 2 to 4 inches or 50 to 100 millimeters in a lot of spots. And of course, it'll be locally higher. Now, 7 days only takes us out until Thursday morning on this. So we can really clearly see where the European model has this, what will more than likely be close to being Ernesto by then, just north of Hispaniola. But you can see that we're looking at widespread 4 or 5, maybe 6 inches of rain, 100, 150 millimeters in some spots, and still some healthy rainfall totals even into the Windward Islands. So this will have impacts of kicking up surf and sea conditions, squally weather, and then obviously down the road, as this wraps up into something stronger, that's when we'll really be paying attention for more localized forecasting with this. But we are still several days away from getting even a low-level center of circulation to develop. So based on the GFS model here, when we look at these wave heights and directions, obviously it's going to show you some very churned up conditions as this very robust tropical disturbance moves through. We can see those kicked up here through the Lesser Antilles, the Greater Antilles, and then moving up the United States East Coast. We could have some 10, 12, 14-foot waves in some spots. Obviously, mariners, especially from the Leeward Islands to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and the Turks and Caicos and the Dominican Republic, all need to be paying close attention to it. Down the road, the Bahamas as well. I'll keep a close eye on that forecast. Obviously, though, where this is going to track, it's going to bring significant impacts to sea conditions across the area. Friends, you know you can find us across all of social media. Thank you for all the support here, and thank you for finding us across all the other places as well. So if you have social media accounts on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook, we are there. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Of course, if you have a specific question about the forecast, you can drop it in the comments section below. While you're down there, say hi, leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, you know I'm going to keep you guys covered. So I'll be back for tomorrow with the latest on that tropical wave. And again, we have some time, friends, but I feel like this is one that we're going to be talking more and more about as we get into the weekend and early next week. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow right here at Meteo Mundo.